Okay, we're recording. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to do a destructive test on one of the knives that I've heat treated and tempered. Um, it it didn't pass my standards for finishing to put into put in with the other blades that I normally would take to a show. I've done some testing. I've snapped the tips off and checked the grain structure. However, I've never done a destructive test to see just to test the flexibility of the blade, and then also what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to break the knife so I can check the grain structure where it broke. I've tested the knife with my Rockwell files, and the knife tests about 55 plus Rockwell. So we'll see what happens when I put it in the vise and try to break it. I can't emphasize safety enough, so I'm going to be wearing this leather apron, these welding gloves, and this face shield as I attempt to break the knife, just so that I can, again, overemphasize, or you can't overemphasize safety is what I'm trying to say. Don't have any idea how the knife is going to break, where the pieces are going to go and whatnot. So, and I also picked an area that's relatively safe so that if anything does go flying, it's not going to cause any damage or injury. So I'm going to let the camera run and just get ready, and we'll see how this turns out. This is the knife that I'm going to be testing. It's actually a pretty good knife. I wouldn't sell it. You know, like I said, it didn't come out the way that I'd imagined it would, but I've used it a few times just for testing and cutting and chopping and stuff like that. It's pretty tough. It's tough enough, but we'll see how tough it is. And I'm hoping what the camera will capture also is the degree of flexibility, and until it does break or bends, but we'll see what happens. Looks like I'm going to need a little bit more weight on the stump. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I'll try to figure something out, but I'm going to let the camera run. It can all be edited out. It's straight and true, so it's got some good temper. Well, it didn't bend, and it flexed. You could see it in the camera how much it flexed, but it's still it is still true. It returns right back to shape, which is a good sign. I don't know that I'll be able to break it here, so I'm going to try to break the tip and see what happens. It is, you know, I thinned it out here, kind of gave it that false edge. So I'll try to break a piece off here, and then that should be good enough. I do kind of plan for this somewhat in my heat treatment, where I'll watch I try to heat treat, since I use my propane forge, I try to heat treat on the spine and allow the heat to travel out towards the cutting edge to get it as close to an even heat as I can before I quench it. And I leave enough on the tip pre-finish to then stab it into some hardwood, like some walnut or oak, and then I'll snap the tip off and check the grain structure at the tip. And I've had pretty good luck with that so far. When I finish it up, I'll do another stab test, and every knife that I've made has survived. But and the grain structure looks good. You know, it's very, very fine. It's not all granular and crystally like what you're not supposed to see. So anyways, I want to see what this one looks like. This is a pretty tough knife. Like I said, I've kind of put it through the ringer as far as testing it as a knife, but I do want to try to break this one somewhere here and see what it looks like inside. All right, let's see what we got. I'll have to review the footage to see how far it flexed before it broke. And I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up or not, but it is very, I don't know what the focus looks like, but the grain structure is very fine. However, there is a little bit of a dark spot, and I can't tell if that's from the oil and dirt and stuff that rubbed off on the vise jaw here. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a dark spot or not, but it doesn't look like there was a crack there before. I think that's just oil and dirt from the vise jaw. But the grain structure looks really, really fine, and I'll look at it under a loupe and report what I see. I don't really have a good camera for doing really super close-up shots like that, but anyways, we'll take a look at it, see. Yeah, I think where it broke, the way it broke, it just got some oil and stuff from the vise jaw. I don't know if that'll focus or not. But that's the type of fracture that you would see. Maybe it was too hard, I'm not sure, but it did flex quite a bit before it broke. But that's the same type of fracture you would see like in obsidian or some other kind of rock like that. Like from a percussion hit, if you're flint knappers know what I'm talking about. See if the camera can focus on that or not. Okay. More to come.